All right, here we are, continuing on chapter 8, the journey back. We're continuing our journey back. Okay. So today is session number 59. Like I said, chapter 8, section 4, IV. No more nurse jokes until the next time. All right, section 4, chapter 8. It's called The Gift of Freedom. It's on page 143 in the text. The Gift of Freedom. Let us begin. If God's will for you is complete peace and joy, unless you experience only this, you must be refusing to acknowledge His will. His will does not vacillate, being changeless forever. When you are not at peace, it can only be because you do not believe you are in Him. Yet He is all in all. His peace is complete, and you must be included in it. His laws govern you because they govern everything. You cannot exempt yourself from His laws, although you can disobey them. Yet if you do, and only if you do, you will feel lonely and helpless because you are denying yourself everything. Okay? So Jesus opens up with this grand statement, this all-encompassing statement that God is all in all. Right? Once again, we're using words that are limited. Right? So, but if we say them enough times, enough different ways, we get the message, hopefully. All right? God is all in all. So you are included in that. You are part of the oneness. You are part of the all. All right? If you remember last session, I mentioned that Dr. Wapnitz said that session and these following few sessions are like a song to oneness that Jesus is singing, a great exaltation of the connectedness of everything. There's only one. All right? There was the thought of God. And that was it. You are included in that. Okay? So God's will is to extend that oneness. All right? So His laws govern you because they govern everything. You cannot exempt yourself from His laws, although you can disobey them. So the laws, God's laws, are the oneness, right? The oneness, the great expanse, the extension of love, okay? And He says you can disobey them. You can't be apart from them, but you can disobey it. And by disobeying it, He means you can believe you're not a part of it. You can say, no, I've separated from that, okay? I don't want any part of that oneness. I want to be an individual. I want to have a form. I want to be solid. All right? So you could, you can go that way, try to make that happen. But, He says, if you do, you're going to feel lonely and helpless. All right? Because you're denying yourself everything. So I'm denying that I am part of all in all. I'm part of everything. I'm part of the oneness, that great expanse. All right? I'm denying that that's me. All right? And because of that, I turn my back on that. I feel, I'm alone. I'm here. It's very frightening. Right? And it's unrelenting, so it gets depressing after a while. So, and that's what happens when we deny that we are part of the oneness. And it doesn't make you bad, it just makes you, lonely and helpless. All right? And the idea is to notice that and ask your higher self, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, the symbol of Jesus, to help you to see things correctly, to help you see through the eyes of truth and peace. All righty then. Let's go to paragraph 2. I am come as a light into the world that does deny itself everything. It does this simply by dissociating itself from everything. It is therefore an illusion of isolation, maintained by fear of the same loneliness that is its illusion. I said that I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. That is why I am the light of the world. If I am with you in the loneliness of the world, the loneliness is gone. You cannot maintain the illusion of loneliness if you are not alone. My purpose, then, is still to overcome the world. I do not attack it, but my light must dispel it because of what it is. Light does not attack darkness, but it does shine it away. If my light goes with you everywhere, you shine it away with me. The light becomes yours, and you cannot abide in darkness any more than darkness can abide wherever you go. The remembrance of me is the remembrance of yourself and of him who sent me. Okay? Once again, he's talking about the fact that there is no separation. Okay? There is no separation. All right? And he says, the remembrance of me is the remembrance of yourself. Think about that. And of him who sent me. So that memory, when it dawns on us, you'll realize, right? You realize what you are. Okay? So, early on, I believe it's the first chapter, Jesus said, I came here to correct things from the ground up, from the bottom up. Okay? So he's basically saying that a little bit more poetically. He says, I am come as a light into the world. I come as the light because the world denies itself light. Okay? This situation that we miscreated, right, as Mrs. Wapnick would say, all right? We miscreated this, all right? It denies that we are part of the oneness, all right? That we are a part of God. So we deny that, and here's the darkness, the illusion. All right? And Jesus says, I've come here to bring the light. All right? And he says, I'm come here as a light in the world that does deny itself everything. And it does this simply by dissociating from everything. Okay? So I dissociate. Right? Forget it. It's hard. Like people who have been traumatized often dissociate from the trauma. It's just too much to remember. All right? It's unbearable. Okay? And so they dissociate. That means they don't associate themselves with that trauma anymore. They've turned their back on it. But what happens is what you dissociate from, you forget. Right? That's the whole idea. I want to forget it. Okay, so we forget So we forget the oneness because we have dissociated ourselves from it. All right? Not that it was a horror, but it was just we followed this silly idea. All right, but you had to choose one or the other. So you dissociate from that. And you forget it. Okay? So I deny myself everything by dissociating. So the world is therefore, it's an illusion of isolation. It's like I make up a make-believe world now. Okay? And many people who dissociate from trauma make up a different world. Okay? Until the time comes along when they can perhaps reintegrate. They can kind of put themselves back together. All right? No rush. All right? For those of us in time who need that healing. Okay? But the world is therefore an illusion of isolation. And he says, and you maintain the illusion by being afraid of isolation. We tell ourselves, oh no, if I go back into my mind and I touch the oneness, I'm gonna become nothing. I'm gonna be in this. I'm not gonna have any friends. I'm gonna be isolated. I'm gonna be cut off from everything. Friends, family, whatever. Okay, relationships, money, jobs, whatever you like. I'm going to be cut off from all those things. I'm going to be isolated. So the fear of that isolation urges us to maintain this illusion, okay, in which, bottom line is we feel isolated, okay? Who can I turn to? Right? All kinds of songs and stories and whatever, right? But that's what happens. Love becomes fearful because you're going to become isolated if you join the oneness, okay? So, he says it's maintained by the fear of the same loneliness that is its illusion. I said that I am with you always, even unto the end of the world, right? And that's taken out of the New Testament, right? When Jesus tells his apostles, I'm with you. The version we were told was, I am with you even unto the consummation of the world, right? So the world ends, it's consumed, all right? But Jesus is with us, all right? So, he said, I said that I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. That's why I am the light of the world. If I am with you in the loneliness of the world, the loneliness is gone. You cannot maintain the illusion of loneliness if you are not alone. Okay? My purpose then is still to overcome the world. Right? So what he's repeating in different ways all the time is join with me. Put down the world for a second. Come inside to your mind. All right? And use me as a symbol. Okay? Reach out. Talk to me. Ask me to correct your vision. That's what we mean by joining with him. All right? We go to that part of the mind that contains the memory of who we are. And we join with it. And he says, if you do that, the loneliness is gone. It can't exist in that milieu. It just can't. All right? He says, my light must dispel the darkness because of what it is. All right? It's the truth. It dispels all the the lies, right? The lie, the original lie of the ego. I am separated. God's going to get me. Okay? So he says, so my purpose then is still to overcome the world. He says, I do not attack it, right? But my light must dispel it because of what it is. He says, light does not attack darkness, right? But it does shine it away. If my light goes with you everywhere, you shine it away with me. The light becomes ours, and you cannot abide in darkness any more than darkness can abide wherever you go. The remembrance of me is the remembrance of yourself and of him who sent me. Okay? It is a joining. All right? We go to the part of the mind that remembers who we are, what we are, where we came from, where we are. All right? We go to that part of the mind and we remember. The remembrance of me is the remembrance of who you are. Okay? So many different ways. Jesus is telling you, you are me. I am you in reality. All right? You carry the memory of me with you in this nuttiness, but contact it more and more, and the light will grow. And then wherever you go, you bring the light with you. Okay? You go to the store. You're going to buy some bread. All right? I'm making silly jokes in my head. You go to the store, you buy some bread. Your interaction with everyone, it's bringing the light with you. The light is coming through you. You have allowed yourself to become that channel. You've connected yourself with the memory of who you are. Okay? And you become that. And you take that with you. And it does affect everyone you come in contact with. All right? Or everyone with whom you come in contact. Okay? You just affect everyone's mind because the minds are joined. All right? It's that wonderful prayer of St. Francis, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace. And that's what you're asking for. All right? I want to be peaceful. I want to see through the eyes of peace, and I want to carry it with me while I am in a form. I want that to go with me, okay? And that will dispel the darkness in the minds that you encounter, and even ones you don't encounter, because the mind is one, all right? Okay. So, the light goes with you everywhere, and you shine it away with me. The light becomes ours, and you cannot abide in darkness any more than darkness can abide wherever you go. The remembrance of me is the remembrance of yourself and of him who sent me. Paragraph 3. You were in darkness until God's will was done completely by any part of the sonship. When this was done, it was perfectly accomplished by all. How else could it be perfectly accomplished? My mission was simply to unite the will of the sonship with the will of the Father by being aware of the Father's will myself. This is the awareness I came to give you, and your problem in accepting it is the problem of this world. Dispelling it is salvation. And in this sense, I am the salvation of the world. The world must therefore despise and reject me, because the world is the belief that love is impossible. If you will accept the fact that I am with you, you are denying the world and accepting God. My will is His, and your decision to hear me is the decision to hear His voice and abide in His will. As God sent me to you, so I will send you to others, and I will go to them with you, so we can teach them peace and union. All right? These things are metaphor. God sent me to you, and I send you to everyone, and you take me with you. It's metaphor. Jesus represents that part of the mind, the one mind, that looked at the tiny mad idea of separation and just didn't entertain it. Right? Just didn't entertain it, said no, and went back to the mind. Right? Went back to being with God. Okay? This is why he says, look, I came as a man into the world, right? Because he looked at the tiny mad idea. All right? And he denied it. So he denied it. Said, I don't go for that. All right? And he says, when that happened, when the mind was healed, you were healed. Okay? You were with me when I said no to the ego. All right? And in other places, he'll tell us we're just reviewing what has gone on. All right? Though it doesn't seem that way. All right? He said it's over. This world was over long ago, he says. All right? Because the idea that thought of it is gone. All right? Jesus is that part of the mind that just said no. I'm not having that. Jesus said, ain't nobody got time for that. And he went back. And he says, and this is part of the oneness. All right? There's not, 40 billion zillion minds out there. All right? There's one mind. And the mind burst into fragments because it was, just so powerful that it decided, we got to hide. But he says, you were in darkness until God's will was done completely by any part of the sonship, which was him. All right? God's will was done completely. It was reintegrated. Okay? So actually, you're not in darkness anymore because I have come to help you out. Okay? Jesus, that is. And he says, my mission was simply to unite the will of the sonship with the will of the Father by being aware of the Father's will myself. This is the awareness I came to give you. Right? I came to give you this awareness that you are part of the Father. You have not separated. Okay? You are part of the Father, extending love, extending the oneness, all right? Extending the abundance. All right? And this is the awareness I came to give you. And your problem in accepting it is the problem of this world. All right? So the whole world has the same problem. It's the awareness. It's not accepting the awareness that you are part of the will of God. You're part of the mind of God. Right? You didn't go anywhere. You haven't done anything. But you have a problem accepting it. It's the same problem the world has. So once again, we come back to that idea of one problem, one solution. The problem is, I think I'm separated from that. And the solution is the awareness that you're not. Okay? And Jesus said, I came to help you with that awareness. All right? So, and he says dispelling this myth that the world believes in is, that's what I'm here for. And he says, that's why the world has to hate me. Because I'm dispelling all the nonsense. Okay? And you'll see in recorded history that, bringers of truth, people who spoke truth, as the saying goes these days, speaking truth to power, they were castigated. They were done away with. Okay? Prime example was Socrates. He was forced to drink the hemlock, forced to drink the poison, because he was, basically telling people that there's something else out there. All right, think for yourselves. Which is very poor summation of his philosophy, but he was bringing the truth, okay? And truth tellers are castigated by society, for the most part, until recently, because there are people who are speaking truth. They're telling of the awareness that comes with uniting with the reality that's in the mind, all right? And they're being more and more accepted, okay, by more and more people, all right? So there is, in my way of thinking anyway, there is, there's hope that consciousness is rising, as the saying goes now, all right? We might say the awareness is rising. The awareness of who you really are, okay? And he says, look, I'll come with you. He says, just the way God sent me, as if God, gave him this mission, if he wanted to accept it, all right? And he says, I'm in your mind, and wherever you go, all right? It's as if he's sending us to people. He's not sending us to do anything except bask in the awareness of reality. And then, in the course of our moving about in this world, right, we bring that light with us, right? And we will encounter people, and by connecting to that awareness, that compassion that comes with that, all right, we will be able to turn on the light, all right, in others, all right. So, and I will go to them with you, so we can teach them peace and union. Right? And notice that the peace comes first, so that we can teach them peace. Okay? And the peace is the choice for peace. All right? Not in opposition, but instead of conflict, which is the result of thinking you're separated from the oneness. It's constant conflict. So, we bring peace with us and union, right? The peace and then the awareness that we are united with the Creator and Jesus, and everything becomes one, okay? So, let's go on to the next paragraph. Paragraph 4. We ask this is a cool question. He goes, do you not think the world needs peace as much as you do? Do you not want to give it to the world as much as you want it, as much as you want to receive it? For unless you do, you will not receive it. If you want to have it of me, you must give it. Healing does not come from anyone else. You must accept guidance from within. The guidance must be what you want, or it will be meaningless to you. That is why healing is a collaborative venture. I can tell you what to do, but you must collaborate by believing that I know what you should do. Only then will your mind choose to follow me. Without this choice, you could not be healed because you would have decided against healing, and this rejection of my decision for you makes healing impossible. Okay? So this is don't you think that the world, everything you see, all right, everything you perceive, don't you think it needs peace as much as you do individually? All right? And Jesus will go on to say that throughout this text, I know what you really need. I know what you need. All right? And that's peace. Peace goes before understanding, as some smart guy once said. But don't you think the world needs peace as much as you do? And he says, don't you want to give it to the world as much as you want to receive it? He says, you have to. You have to want to give it in order to receive it. Right? That's the main theme throughout this text, that giving and receiving are simultaneous. And giving is necessary in order to receive. When I am willing to see correctly, I am giving. Right? I am giving everything, actually. Right? And I am, at the same moment, receiving the awareness of everything. Right? It's just that in my experience, which I think is other people's too, is that you do that in an instant, a moment, however long, and then for some reason you become afraid of it. It's like he says that you become afraid that you're going to be isolated. You're going to go poof. So we go back to those old comfortable shoes, even though they're not that comfortable. All right? Right, but you have to want it. You have to want to give it as much as receive it in order to have it. Right? On my Facebook page, there's that says to have peace, teach peace. Right? Teach peace to have it. And that's the idea of giving and receiving are simultaneous. Okay? So, he says, unless you want to give it, you won't receive it. All right? If you want to have it of me, you must give it. Healing does not come from anyone else. All right? It doesn't come from the outside. Right? The healing, the integration of the split mind, right? The remembrance of who you are or what you are, right? Doesn't come from anyone else, right? You must accept guidance from within. And the guidance must be what you want, right? Nobody's going to, say, hey, Kevin, come on, wake up, man. It has to be what you want. I have to say, okay, help me to see correctly. Right? So the guidance must be what you want, or it will be meaningless to you. And that's why healing is a collaborative adventure. Right? We have to work with the healing agent. Because I can tell you what to do, but you must collaborate by believing that I know what you should do. Only then will your mind choose to follow me. All right? We have to trust that he knows. We have to believe that Jesus knows what we should do. There is that element of trust. All right? Only then will your mind choose to follow me. And without this choice, you could not be healed. All right? Because you would have decided against healing. All right? If I don't really trust him, I'm deciding against healing. Okay? And this rejection of my decision for you makes healing impossible. Okay? I mean, you have to trust the practitioner. You have to trust that the practitioner knows what to do, what's good for you. All right? Think about it. You know, say you go to the gym and you have a personal trainer. You have to trust that this person knows what's good for you. All right? Or else you're going to be twisting yourself in all kinds of knots. Even if you go for a massage, you have to trust that that massage therapist knows what's good for you and will listen to what you're saying. Let's not get into that, but you know, you have to, whatever practitioner, you have to trust them, that they know. Okay? And if you know there's any doubt, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Okay? So let's go on to paragraph 5. All right, so when we join with Jesus in the right mind, that's healing. All right, we have said no to the ego. All right, so he says healing reflects our joint will. All right, so when I join with Jesus, ask to help me to see, he says that's our joint will, is to have the awareness of everything dawn on us. And that healing is reflected. Right? Healing reflects our joint will. This is obvious when you consider what healing is for. Healing is the way in which the separation is overcome. Separation is overcome by union. Right? It cannot be overcome by separating. The decision to unite must be unequivocal, or the mind itself is divided and not whole. Your mind is the means by which you determine your own condition, because mind is the mechanism of decision. It is the power by which you separate or join and experience pain or joy accordingly. My decision cannot overcome yours, right? Because yours is as powerful as mine. If it were not so, the sons of God would be unequal. All things are possible through our joint decision, but mine alone cannot help you. Your will is as free as mine, and God himself would not go against it. It cannot will what God does not will. Right? I can offer my strength to make yours invincible, but I cannot oppose your decision without competing with it and thereby violating God's will for you. God's will for you to be free. To be free in the great expanse, and to be ever expanding in love and abundance and joy, all those words. Okay? He says, but I can't force you to become aware of that. Okay? Because your mind is as powerful as my mind, because it's the same mind. Okay? So you have the same strength of mind that I do, Jesus says. So I'm not going to compete with you, right? I can't oppose it and say, all right, that's it, that's enough. That's my wife. One day she opens my eyes in the morning. She goes, that's enough sleep for anybody. So Jesus doesn't do that. He doesn't come over and open up your eyes and say, that's enough sleep. Wake up. All right, he says healing, because we always, as we say in the Course, the mind split when we entertained the tiny mad idea that we could separate from God. The mind split, and therefore it needs to be healed. It needs to become whole once again. All right? The wrong mind, right mind. The right mind has to evaporate, so to speak, and then there's the right mind. So healing reflects our joint will. When I join with Jesus, all right, I want to see things the way you do. Help me, correct me, all right? Trusting that he knows what to do for us, okay? All right, healing reflects our joint will. Healing is the way separation is overcome. All right? The thought of separation is overcome by joining with Jesus, joining with Holy Spirit, the memory of who we are. The remembrance of oneness overcomes separation. Okay? So, separation cannot be overcome by separating. We're not going to find any solutions within the ego thought system. We have to step outside the ego thought system. Take a breath. And come into the mind and ask, help me to see correctly. Okay? So the decision to unite must be unequivocal. You don't want anything else. Right? You have to come to that decision. I'm done. I'm done with this. Help me. Show me something. There must be a better way. All right? So your mind, he says here in paragraph 5, sentence 7, your mind is the means by which you determine your own condition. All right? The responsibility. The responsibility for what you see. All right? It determines your own condition. All right? So I want to live in the condition of separation, sin, guilt, and fear, that loneliness and desperation. All right? Or do I want to decide for union, okay, and unite with the right mind? It determines my condition, because the mind is the mechanism of decision. Okay, so we have to decide. Okay? It is the power by which you separate or join and experience pain or joy accordingly. All right, so we have to go into the mind. All right, first of all, we have to remember that we have a mind. All right? This world keeps us mindless. Right? We're always busy trying to figure stuff out. What do I have to do next? Not coming into the mind. Okay? And the world does everything it can to keep us out of our mind, to keep us mindless. Right? It invents the iPhone and other things. Okay, but the thing is, you don't condemn yourself for having an iPhone or for liking sports or anything. You just realize, you realize the purpose. And if you get too caught up in it and this and that, whatever, you can get addicted to anything, okay? And you become preoccupied, so you're not in the mind. So the idea is to just notice that and say, okay, wait, I'm done with that. I want to come back to my mind, okay? So it's that decision to join and experience pain or joy. And he says, my decision, Jesus says, just because I decided to become aware of the oneness again, go back to the Father's mind, he says, my decision can't overcome yours because your decision is just as powerful as mine. Okay? And don't try to deny it. Your decision is just as powerful. Your mind is just as powerful. All right? Your seeming individual mind. Okay? He said, because if it wasn't, then we'd be unequal. There'd be an order of difficulty. There'd be a hierarchy of illusions. All right? One thing would be higher or better than another. All right? One thing would be worse than another. Okay? So he says, all things are possible through our joint decision. He says, but mine alone can't help you. All right? If your will is as free as mine, all right, God himself would not go against it. I cannot will what God does not will. And I can offer my strength to make yours invincible. I offer you my strength. I'm offering you the power of my decision to make your strength, all right, which is the memory of who you are, to make it invincible. Nothing can assail it. All right, we're not talking about, becoming part of the Avengers or anything like that. Okay, getting superpowers, but you will be invincible and you will know it. We're not talking about the body. We're talking about your awareness of what you are. Okay? Paragraph 6. Nothing God created can oppose your decision, as nothing God created can oppose his will. God gave your will its power, which I can only acknowledge in honor of his. If you want to be like me, I will help you, knowing that we are alike. If you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. I can teach you, but only you can choose to listen to my teaching. How else can it be if God's kingdom is freedom? Freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind, and the perfect equality of all God's sons cannot be recognized through the domination of one mind over another. God's sons are equal in will, all being the will of the Father. This is the only lesson I came to teach. All right? And he's told the lesson is the oneness. All right? You are the same. You're the same as me, he's saying. When, that statement in the New Testament that seemed to upset quite a few people, when he says, I and the Father are one. What? Kill him. I and the Father are one. And he's saying the same thing to you. You and the Father are one. You and the Father and I are one. Okay? This is the only lesson I came to teach. All right? So, and I always liked this line from the Course. All right? Because when I was a young boy, I remember listening to the Gospels, and there was a line in the Gospel where Jesus told his apostles, the things I do, you will do. And that kind of blew my mind at an early age. I said, whoa, But now you come to realize after the wine has aged a bit, you come to realize that what he's talking about here. Not talking about, healing the lepers, or, raising the physical dead. He's talking about raising the spiritually dead, so to speak. All right? He says, if you want to be like me, right, which means if you want to bask in the awareness of who you are, if you want to realize your invincibility because you are part of the oneness, he says, if you want to be like me, like that, I'll help you. Right? He says, because I know that we're the same. I'm going to show you how we're the same. And then he comes with this very, very gentle reassurance. Right up behind it, he goes, and if not, all right? So, if you want to be different, he says, I will wait until you change your mind. I will wait. Because he knows it's inevitable, okay? Because the conflict never decreases, never gets better. That choice for conflict never gets better, right? There's only little oases every now and then. You have a few laughs, you know, or you see a beautiful sunset or whatever, you know, or you hang out with your cat or your dog or something. All right? There's little oases of peace, okay? But for the most part, that thought of separation, I'm here on my own, it's conflict. So he says, so it's okay, I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait until it becomes unbearable. And I say, okay, there has to be a better way. Help me to see correctly. And she just goes, okay, I've been waiting for you, Kev. Let's go. And he says, and then I will show you how to be like me, which means to have the same awareness that I have. Okay? It's so gentle. If you want to be different, I'll wait until you change your mind. He says, I could teach you, but only you can choose to listen to my teaching. How else could it be? Jesus speaks with like a Brooklyn accent there. How else could it be? It's very New York. How else could it be if God's kingdom is freedom? Freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind. All right, so you can't force it onto anybody. All right? You can't force it onto anybody. No matter what Richard Nixon thought he could do. Those damn hippies. All right. He says, how else can it be if God's kingdom is freedom? Freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind, and the perfect equality of God's sons cannot be recognized through the domination of one mind over another. So perfect freedom can't be recognized if I'm being dominated by another mind. Right? You sit there and think about this. Okay? So, it says it can't be recognized through the dominion of one mind over another. God's sons are equal in will. Once again, you're equal. We're all the same. There's only one. There's the oneness. All right? And everything is joined with the Father. Okay? He says, this is the only lesson I came to teach. Okay? Paragraph 7. If your will were not mine, it would not be our Father's. This would mean you have imprisoned yours and have not let it be free. Of yourself, you can do nothing. Because of yourself, you are nothing. Hey. I am nothing without the Father, and you are nothing without me. Because by denying the Father, you deny yourself. I will always remember you, and in my remembrance of you lies your remembrance of yourself. In our remembrance of each other lies our remembrance of God. And in this remembrance lies your freedom. because your freedom is in him. Join then with me in praise of him and you, whom he created. This is our gift of gratitude to him, which he will share with all his creations, to whom he gives equally whatever is acceptable to him. Because it is acceptable to him, it is the gift of freedom, which is his will for all his sons. By offering freedom, you will be free. Okay? Now, even as I'm reading that now, I'm getting the idea that I really just want to go over it again without commentary, because it's beautifully poetic. It's a song. It's an exaltation of who you are, and who our Father is, and what our relationship is. Okay? So without further ado, paragraph 7 on page 145. If your will were not mine, it would not be our Father's. This would mean you have imprisoned yours and have not let it be free. Of yourself, you can do nothing. Because of yourself, you are nothing. I am nothing without the Father, and you are nothing without me. Because by denying the Father, you deny yourself. I will always remember you, and in my remembrance of you lies your remembrance of yourself. In our remembrance of each other lies our remembrance of God. And in this remembrance lies your freedom, because your freedom is in him. Join then with me in praise of him and of you, whom he created. This is our gift of gratitude to him, which he will share with all his creations, to whom he gives equally whatever is acceptable. Because it is acceptable to him, it is the gift of freedom, which is his will for all his sons. By offering freedom, you will be free. Okay. By offering freedom, you will be free. Okay. And only if you decide to be separated from that, you become nothing. All right? It's just the world of nothing. Okay? By offering freedom, all right, you will be free. Paragraph 8. Freedom is the only gift you can offer to God's sons, being an acknowledgement of what they are and what he is. Freedom is creation, because it is love. Right? Whom you seek to imprison, you do not love. Therefore, when you seek to imprison anyone, including yourself, you do not love him, and you cannot identify with him. When you imprison yourself, you're losing sight of your true identification with me and with the Father. Your identification with the Father and with the Son. Right? Your identification is with the Father and with the Son. It cannot be without one and not the other. It cannot be with one and not the other. If you are part of one, you must be part of the other, because they are one. The Holy Trinity is holy because it is one. If you exclude yourself from this union, you are perceiving the Holy Trinity as separated. You must be included in it because it is everything. Unless you take your place in it and fulfill your function as part of it, the Holy Trinity is as bereft as you are. No part of it can be imprisoned if its truth is to be known. Okay? So, if your will were not mine, it would not be our Father's. All right? Once again, stating that oneness, that connectivity. All right? So, if your will is not the same as mine, then you have imprisoned yours. In other words, you've chosen to be separated, chosen to believe that you're separated. You've imprisoned your will. All right? You've changed it from the expanse, the oneness. All right? So he's equating it here with being imprisoned. All right? And he says, so you've chosen to be separate. You've not let yourself be free. I mean, you've chosen the ego. All right? And you've chosen to be an individual, chosen to be a separate piece of something. Okay? And he says, of yourself you can do nothing. All right? Like because of yourself you are nothing. There's nothing, you're not an individual. You may think you are, you totally believe in it. He says, but of yourself you can do nothing. You can't fix the loneliness, the desperation, the fear. All right? Of yourself, you can't do anything. All right? Just like Jesus says, I'm nothing without the Father, and you're nothing without me. Okay? It's expressing the unity, the union. Because by denying the Father, you deny yourself. All right? All right? He says, I remember you. Okay? I'm holding you in my memory until you wake up. Okay? I will always remember you, and in my remembrance of you lies your remembrance of yourself. He's holding that space for us. And in our remembrance of each other lies our remembrance of God. Oh yeah, now I remember. And in this remembrance lies your freedom. Okay? So, and freedom is the only gift, in paragraph 8, page 146, freedom is the only gift you can offer to God's Son, being an acknowledgement of what they are and what He is. Freedom is creation because it is love. Whom you seek to imprison, you do not love. Therefore, when you seek to imprison anyone, including yourself, you do not love him and you cannot identify with him. When you imprison yourself, you are losing sight of your true identification with me and with the Father. Your identification is with the Father and with the Son. It cannot be one and not the other. If you are not part of one, you must be part of the other, because they are one. If you are part of one, you must be part of the other. Okay? The Holy Trinity is holy because it is one. Okay? If you exclude yourself, you're perceiving the Holy Trinity as separated. You must be included in it, because it is everything. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, as the Trinity in the Christian world. Okay? He says, actually, it's one thing. Okay? actually it's one thing, and you are it. You are included in it. You are that. All right? The Holy Spirit, as we keep saying, is the memory of who you are. Once that memory arises, you realize, oh, you are the offspring of the Father, and you're just the same as the Father. Okay? And by imprisoning it, it's like, no, I don't believe that. I believe I'm an individual. Okay? That's imprisoning yourself by believing in the separation. Okay? So he says, but really, you're part of it all. Okay? No, because it is one. If you exclude yourself from the union, you're perceiving the Holy Trinity as separated. You must be included in it because it is everything. Unless you take your place in it and fulfill your function as part of it, which is extending the love, unless you do that, the Holy Trinity is bereft as you are, right? It's missing something. No part of it, the Holy Trinity, can be imprisoned if its truth is to be known, okay? So, the ego thought system must be dispelled, all right? If the truth is to be known, okay? That's part of the journey back, okay? And that's the gift of freedom, is that you're all free, all right? Everyone is free, okay. No one is forcing you to do anything, all right? And your mind, your choices in the mind result in what you see, okay? And you can accept the guidance, all right? And, all right, just to end it all up, I just want to, I'll end with those wonderful words that Jesus utters, these wonderful words of Jesus that says, if you want to be like me, I will help you, knowing that we are the same. Right? All right? And if not, I will wait for you to change your mind. Okay. And until the next time, bye now.